Welcome to another ownership update of this lovely MG ZST in Sydney, Australia. We've owned this car from 2021, bought it brand new. It's an MG ZST, highest kind of top of the range model, Essence, in case this is the first time you're watching these videos. The car is now approaching 3 years of day-to-day use and 30,000 kilometers on the clock. I know it's not an Uber driver or taxi driver standards. It's not 100,000 for us to talk about it, but I don't want to make any more disclaimers. We are private owners. I, as always, tell you exactly what's good, what's bad, without pulling any punches. If this is your cup of tea, now is the chance to give me a quick like, make yourself a cup of tea. Let's talk about this ownership. And most important thing that I'd like to straight away come at you with is this, my friends, is where I'm going to highlight to you where depreciation is gonna work in your favor if you're buying a used car. Something like this. Let's say we were planning to sell this MG ZST. As good drivers, as honest, owners who are not going to conceal any kind of damage or anything from you or whatever to the car, if you were buying this from us, from my wife and I, as a used car. The car is 3 years old, 30,000 kilometers, very good condition, okay? This is where depreciation works in your favor. Let's start with the most important point. Because not Chinese, every car depreciates. We spoke about this a lot. This is not a purely depreciation conversation video. However, we all know that Chinese brands are still being seen a little bit snobbishly by a lot of people, by kind of badge snobs, by other kind of people in Australia and other countries. So a lot of people, in other words, still think that Chinese means it depreciates faster, means it's worth less 2-3 years down the track, so the car loses more value basically over time. Whether it's right or wrong, we'll leave it aside. It's not a depreciation video, as I said to you. However, that perception in this particular case would work in someone's favor and to someone's advantage. Why? Because the car is great. It's still great. Yes, there were some little kinks and little things that we were getting used to. I don't want to repeat every video that I've done on this ZST over the time of existence of my channel. But overall, my friends, I can say, fingers crossed, of course, because my wife is not planning to sell this. Fingers crossed. So far, so good. Those little kinks, those little glitches, those little things that we've discussed, that's all they are. That's all they were. There was nothing more to it. I spoke, for example, at like 15,000 kilometer check-in of ownership review to you about, I don't know, the mirrors making like a very prominent kind of like electric motor sound when they are folding. For example, and I was like, oh, how long is that gonna last? Are they gonna break next month? Nothing broke. We traveled double the amount, the distance of that previous update, ownership update, and nothing broke. Everything is still fine. The rudimentary but still present infotainment system is still working. Everything is working. We now have beaten all the kind of electronic infotainment connectivity issues with simply connecting. My wife is using AutoTOCAST still. Here is the proof. She's still using this in her car. I took the car for a day. She's using iPhone connected to this lovely AutoTOCAST wireless adapter that I've reviewed for you. So infotainment connectivity, no problem. She's just using Apple Carplay the whole time. The rest of it is as you would expect it. The car nicely, the engine performs nicely. The car nicely idles at 0.9 thousand revs, I suppose, like 900 revs, which is nice. It's quiet. Nothing broke. Nothing started creaking. That's a very important thing to me. Like when I got into, I'm gonna here once again mention Cherry Model 5. When I've tested some Cherry Model 5s, especially earlier models, it was very plasticky and it felt like it was creaky straight away. We've owned this. First of all, it never felt plasticky. Never did. And we owned this now for 3 years. My wife is driving it every single day. She's driving it, and it's all still nice. It's still, well, the same fake leather as it was, but it still feels nice. Nothing has worn out. We drive it all the time. And yeah, I would like overall, if that's all you had time for, and not many of you watch my videos past 3-4 minute mark, you probably have already drifted off, but I hope I've delivered 2 main messages. First, if you're buying a used car, look for an MG ZST. It's a lovely looking car. It is great in driving around town. It has great mobility dynamics to itself. I really enjoy it whenever I drive it. Now I drive my Subaru and it feels like a sluggish big vehicle compared to this. I jumped into this today and I actually had fun driving it for you, like to update you on this driving experience. And if you're buying a used car, a 3-year-old MG ZST specifically, I'm not going to say every MG, I'm not saying MG3, I'm not alluding MG5 or whatever, but this, I honestly, frankly, even as a person who is a supporter of emergent brands, I bought this car consciously. I was hoping, obviously, that it will last us, but I didn't think it will. I didn't think it will perform as well, and I didn't think it will last as nicely for 3 years plus in our use. Hand on heart, I didn't think so. There was a video on my channel where I said, are they even built to last? Like, that was kind of a speculative sort of ranty video, but I shared some thoughts with you on that. Well, I'm glad to say that I was wrong. I'm glad to say that the time, even if it hasn't been 10 years, it's still been substantial amount of time in the private use. And this would be roughly the time if you were leasing, novated leasing, for example, a vehicle like this. 3 years is the first ballpark mark when you would be even changing the vehicle. So you would not even see it into its sunset, you know? But if you're buying it for yourself, if you bought this car right now, if we were selling, I can tell you as an honest private owner, at 30,000 kilometers, nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong. It's as new. It's as new. Just don't buy a car from a smoker, for example, like we are non-smoking people. Like, everything is pristine, maybe because we also didn't do anything bad to it. Do you know what I mean? The only thing probably worthy of saying is that these MGs, infotainment kind of sucks. It's not as horrible as any LDV D90 that I owned, like fair is fair, and I said that in the past as well. But wireless connectivity, it was non-existent. It was only wired connectivity. That's why I needed to enable some kind of connectivity here, which we solved with this adapter. And beyond that, what to consider for this car if you were buying a used one or a new one? Look, I would probably not put a whole screen of a smart screen or head unit here, simply because the visible gap of visibility of the driver here, the visible gap between the rear view mirror and the top panel is not massive. So if you also put something bulky here, that would obstruct your view a bit too much. Like, I wouldn't do it. However, a nice small dash camera, something like Vaiofa VS1 that I've reviewed, or something even like DDPi N5 camera that I've just reviewed as well. Something that would be small and hidden behind this rear view mirror on that side that you don't see, but that provides monitoring for safety purposes of the street. That is something I would always advocate for. And yes, I look like an interested party because I promote those products, but with the dash camera, honesty for honesty, I would not drive around Sydney or anywhere else without that. MG, not MG, doesn't matter. It was just a free extra advice here for you, my friends. So anyway, I think depreciation, perceivable loss of value of Chinese-made cars will work in your favor, because essentially you will get this cheaper than something else, simply because Bogans thought that it lost a lot of value in itself and it's going to fall apart. It's not going to fall apart. You're going to get it cheaper. You're going to still enjoy it. That's my humble opinion. Obviously, let me know what you think. Have you bought used MGs? Have you bought a new one? How is yours faring? What's your kilometrage like? It's always nice to compare the notes, but we're still very happy. It's still in the family as opposed to the popular belief. So like we switched to GWM or something like this. Nah, still, my wife is still a very happy owner of this MG ZST. I hope you found this quick check-in insightful and helpful for what it's worth. Give me a quick like before you go, and I'll talk to you next week about something else value cars related. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye for now.